If you're watching this, there's a good chance you feel like you're falling behind. Maybe you're in your late 20s or 30s with a job that pays bills but leaves you empty. Maybe you look around and think, this wasn't supposed to be this hard. You're not alone. And it's not because you're weak. There's a structural crisis happening to men right now that almost nobody is talking about, honestly. I'm going to show you the exact three-part framework that explains what's actually going on, why the systems are stacked against you in ways you don't even realize, and most importantly, what you can actually do about it. This isn't motivational nonsense. This is the actual game, and if you stay until the end, I'll reveal the one shift that separates men who stay stuck from men who break through. Welcome back to Deeper Dudes. But first, let's talk about why you feel like a failure when you're actually just playing a rigged game. Here's the data, and I'm giving this to you straight because you deserve to know what you're up against. Young men today are statistically worse off than their fathers at the same age. For the first time in modern history, a 30-year-old man is making less money than a 30-year-old man made 40 years ago when you adjust for inflation. That's not a personal failure, that's a systems problem. But here's where it gets darker. The loneliness crisis among men is reaching a breaking point. 1 in 7 men report having 0 close friends. 1 in 4 can't name a single friend they see regularly. And the suicide rate among men is climbing, 4 times higher than women and rising. This isn't accidental. It's a result of a series of structural changes that have all hit at once. And what makes this so brutal is that we're taught as men that struggling means we're weak. That if we can't handle it, we failed at being a man. What a load of crap. Nobody teaches us how to navigate a world where the rules changed overnight. First, the education system. I'm not saying schools are intentionally against boys, but the way schools are designed, sitting still for hours, being organized, being a pleaser, following rules, those are coded as feminine behaviors. And naturally, when you have a system where 80% of elementary school teachers are women, they empathize more with kids who act like them. Boys who fidget, who want to move around, who aren't naturally inclined to sit quietly, they get labeled as problems. So you lose the kids who aren't academic. You eliminate shop class, auto shop, vocational programs, the on-ramps to middle-class life for guys who aren't going to Stanford. And what you're left with is a message. Either you go to an elite university or you've failed. There's no middle ground anymore. I know because I watched this happen. I had friends in high school who were brilliant with their hands, could fix anything, build anything. But the system told them they were failures because they didn't want to write essays about Shakespeare. Where are they now? Struggling, ashamed, thinking something's wrong with them. Second, the economic squeeze. Housing costs are astronomical. Student debt is crippling. Entry-level salaries haven't moved in decades. Meanwhile, a generation of wealthy people who got cheap education and cheap housing are sitting on appreciated assets and wondering why young people are struggling. The wealth transfer is real, and it's brutal. If you were born between 1985 and 1995, you're poorer than your parents were at your age. Full stop. You can work harder, be smarter, do everything right, and still end up with less because the math doesn't work anymore. A house that cost 3 times the average salary in 1980 now costs 8 times the average salary. College that costs $2,000 a year now costs $30,000. You're not failing. The system is failing you. Third, and this is the one nobody wants to talk about, the dating market has fundamentally changed. And it's hit men much harder than women. Here's how this works. When you look at dating apps, and most first dates now start on an app, the ratio is typically 2 to 3 men for every woman. Women have choice. They have a filter mechanism. What happens? The best-looking 10% of men get most of the attention. The bottom 90%? They get very little. And here's the psychological damage. A guy spends time on these apps, gets ignored, gets swiped left on, and he internalizes a message that he has no market value. A woman can have a bad day and still get matches. A man can be decent and get nothing. This is creating a class of men who are walking around with a genuine belief that they have zero romantic value. And they're not wrong about the data, but what they do with that belief matters. Some guys get it together, become genuinely interesting, develop skills and confidence. Most don't. Most retreat. And this is where technology becomes weaponized against loneliness. When you feel like you have no value in the real world, no romantic prospects, no clear economic path, no peer group, you're vulnerable. You're looking for something, anything, that makes you feel like you belong. And the algorithms know this. Gaming, adult content, Reddit, Discord, crypto trading, gambling, endless scrolling, all of these are designed to tap into male psychology. You want stimulation? You get it. You want community? It feels like it. You want winning? You can chase it endlessly. You want respect? The algorithm will show you content that makes you feel like you understand something others don't. And the worst part? None of it is real. None of it builds actual skills, or actual relationships, or actual worth. So you wake up at 25, 30, 35, and you've spent years in this loop. No romantic experience, no real friendships, no money, no direction. And you're pissed off. But here's what I want you to hear. Understanding that your struggles aren't personal failures, they're structural, that matters. Because it means the solution isn't about becoming a better person in some generic sense. It's about understanding the actual game you're playing and making moves that work within that reality. Before we go any further, I want to pause for something important. None of what we've been talking about matters if we don't have the energy and clarity to actually implement it. We all know what it feels like to wake up exhausted. No energy, poor focus, and zero motivation. We also know what it feels like when we get good, restful sleep, targeted therapy, and the right supplements. I've personally tested more things than you can imagine. I'm like your personal guinea pig. Everything I have listed in the description below is science-backed and extensively tested. And if you grab anything through my links, you'll be supporting this channel at zero cost to you. Thanks for taking a look. Now let's get back to it. If this is helping, please hit that like button so more men can find this when they need it most. And drop a comment. What part of this resonates with you? No judgment, just support. Now here's the truth about escaping this that changes everything. You don't need a perfect plan. You need 3 specific actions that build momentum. And momentum is what separates men who stay stuck from men who break through. These aren't sexy. They're not going to go viral. But they work. First action, get physically strong. I'm not saying you need to look like a superhero. I'm saying you need to spend 4 to 5 hours a week putting your body under stress. Lift weights. Do body weight exercises. Move heavy things. Your nervous system needs it. Why? Because when you're stronger, you feel more capable. When you feel more capable, you take more risks. When you take more risks, you build skills. When you build skills, you become actually attractive. But here's the deeper thing. Working out is one of the few things in modern life where you can directly see progress. You set a goal, do 10 pull-ups, deadlift 300 pounds, and you work toward it and you hit it. In a life where so much feels out of control, this matters. It's one area where effort directly equals results. Here's how to apply it. 1. Find a beginner program online. Starting strength, strong lifts 5x5, any basic routine. 2. Commit to 3 days a week, 45 minutes per session. Not every day, not 2 hours, just 3 consistent sessions. 3. Track your lifts in a notebook or app. Write down what you lifted, how many reps, how it felt. 4. Increase weight by 5 pounds every week on at least one exercise. The goal isn't intensity at first. It's consistency. Your body doesn't care if you're lifting heavy today. It cares if you show up every week for 6 months. When I was at my lowest, broke, no direction, no relationships, I started doing push-ups every morning. Just push-ups. 20 at first, then 30, then 50. It sounds stupid, but it proved to me that I could still set a goal and hit it, that I wasn't completely powerless. Small steps rebuild big lives. And once you're moving, the next step becomes even more powerful. Second action, make money. This is the part where guys get stuck because they think it has to be some grand entrepreneurial vision. It doesn't. If you're 25 and broke, your job right now isn't to become a millionaire. Your job is to make $200 a week more than you're making. That's it. DoorDash, Uber, freelance work on Fiverr, sell stuff online, tutoring, construction, whatever. Why? Because the moment you start making money on your own terms, something shifts in your brain. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstance. You start feeling like an agent in your own life. And that matters more than the actual money. Here's the deeper principle. Wealth and self-worth are connected. In most societies, how much money you make is directly correlated with how much status you have, how attractive you are, how capable you feel. It's unfair, but it's real. So start making money, any money, and watch how your entire psychology shifts. Here's the system. 1. Identify one skill you have that someone will pay for. Can you write, design, code, teach, fix things, drive? 2. Find one platform where people pay for that skill. Fiverr, Upwork, Craigslist, TaskRabbit, local Facebook groups. 3. Create one listing or post offering your service. Make it specific, not, I'll do graphic design. Try, I'll design a clean logo for your small business in 48 hours for $50. 4. Complete your first paid gig this week, even if it's $20, even if it feels small. Do it. Get paid. Repeat. When I lost everything in my late 20s, I started doing freelance writing for $15 an article. It was embarrassing. I had a degree. I thought I was worth more. But you know what? That $15 proved I could still earn. And $15 became $50. Then $100. Then $500. The amount doesn't matter at first. The action does. And this leads directly into the most important part. Third action, get into real community. This is the hardest one because it requires actual discomfort. You need to be in spaces where you're around other people, real people, in person. Church, nonprofit work, sports leagues, hobby clubs, volunteer organizations, classes, anything where you show up regularly and interact with human beings who aren't behind a screen. Why? Because loneliness is a literal killer. Humans are pack animals. We need social interaction to function. And more than that, the best opportunities in life come through people. Job offers come from people who know you. Romantic relationships come from people who know you. Friendships come from showing up repeatedly in the same space and being decent to people. When you're in these spaces, you also naturally get mentorship. You see older guys who have their act together. You see how they interact, what they prioritize, how they solve problems. This is invaluable. Here's how to do it. 1. Pick one activity you're even slightly interested in. Doesn't have to be your passion, just something you don't hate. Martial arts, hiking group, book club, volunteering at an animal shelter, recreational sports. 2. Find one local group that meets regularly. Search Meetup, Facebook events, local community boards, church bulletins. 3. Commit to attending 4 times over the next month. Not once, 4 times. Because the first time is awkward. The second time is still weird. The third time, people start recognizing you. The fourth time, you're part of the group. 4. Talk to at least 2 people each time you go. Just small talk. Ask their name. Ask how long they've been coming. That's it. When I finally forced myself to join a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym, after years of isolation, I almost didn't go back after the first class. I got destroyed. I felt weak and awkward, but I went back. And the third time, a guy asked if I wanted to grab coffee after. That guy became one of my closest friends, introduced me to job opportunities, introduced me to his social circle, all because I showed up 4 times. Now here's where most people go wrong. They try to do all 3 at once, burn out in a week, and quit. Don't do that. Pick one, just one. Commit to it for 30 days. Build the habit. Then add the next one. When you combine all three, physical strength gives you confidence, making money gives you agency, real community gives you belonging. This is how men achieve true resilience. Not just surviving the crisis, but becoming stronger because you navigated it. Not just getting by, but building a life that actually means something. And here's the hardest truth. The thing that separates guys who actually change their lives from guys who stay stuck is the willingness to ask for help. This is where male conditioning really screws us up. We're taught that asking for help is weakness, that a real man figures it out alone, that vulnerability is soft. It's the opposite. The most capable men I know have a tight group of people they consult on important decisions. They ask for advice, they get mentored, they offer mentorship. They are part of a community. If you're struggling, that's actually good information. It means you need to reach out. Find one person you trust, a mentor, a friend, a coach, a therapist. Tell them what's going on. Ask for help. The shame you feel about asking is the thing that's keeping you stuck, not the asking itself. Drop a comment. Which action are you starting with this week? Number 1, get physically strong. Number 2, make money. Or number 3, get into real community. And here's the harder question. What's the one thing you've been too ashamed to ask for help with? Well, that's it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you found it helpful, please be sure to give it a like and maybe even subscribe to Deeper Dudes. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. It all helps the channel more than you know, and it also tells us that we should make more content like this. We post videos every other day that tackle real challenges men face. Remember, struggling doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. The fact that you took time to watch this means you're ready for something better. Thanks again for watching and for checking out all the amazing products in the description below. They could jumpstart your healing journey. Catch you in the next one, Deeper Dudes. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, keep thriving.